Welcome back to Talkin Ball with my dog, the college baseball talk series we do on the Press Box After Dark TikTok page. I am not the dog. My name's Hunter. There is the dog. Her name is Cookie. And opening weekend of college baseball is in the books. And I'm going to try to get a few episodes out to give you my thoughts on everything that happened in the opening weekend. But first, we got to start with the Holden team. We got to talk Mississippi State. We're going to recap their weekend series against Hofstra, as Cookie is jumping up and down. But let's talk about it. Here's the first weekend of the Brian O'Connor era is in the books. All right, first big takeaway from Mississippi State this weekend. They won 3 games, okay? Maybe some fans are upset right now because obviously, they didn't run rule anybody. They didn't go out and win 20-0 every single game. It's kind of unrealistic if you know baseball, so I'm not really upset about that. What I am impressed with is that they had to come from behind a couple of times. They did that. They were able to perform well, closing the door late in ball games to win those close games against Hofstra, who came to play. And honestly, shout out to the Pride. They were a good baseball team, fun to watch. But with a lot of teams in college baseball dropping one game this weekend, UCLA dropped a game to UC San Diego's preseason #1 team. Florida dropped a game to UAB. Georgia dropped a game to Wright State. So Mississippi State winning all 3 games this weekend, that's big. That's really impressive. Really, really good for them to get 3 games under their belts and, play pretty good baseball overall. As Cookie's jumping up and down. What do you think, Cookie? Nothing from the dog. Never talks. Don't know why. But overall, 3 wins, very good. Offensively, not as good as I would have hoped. They did get out hit overall in the weekend. They had 21 hits to Hofstra's 23. But one thing that I did like is that they had 16 walks, 4 hit by pitches, 20 free passes. So obviously there wasn't a lot to hit for Mississippi State. Had pretty solid at bats overall, pretty disciplined for the most part. So I can't really complain too much. Ace Reese was the standout though. Hit the team's lone home run of the weekend. We kind of knew he was going to be the standout, but it was good to see him pick up right where he left off last year. Had to move the camera there. My bad. Cookie? Okay. What do you think about Ace Reese in his weekend against Hofstra? Cookie? Pitching wise, talking starting rotation first. Tomas Valenkas, absolute dog. Loved everything about him. That dude is going to go out there and compete. Every time his foot touches the rubber, Mississippi State's going to have a chance to win, as Cookie is still sniffing in the grass. But really, really good stuff from him. Ryan McPherson, Charlie Foster, they left a little meat on the bone for me, if we're being honest. But I feel like a lot of that was first weekend jitters and just being super amped up to go out there and face somebody new. And so I think these guys have good stuff. They just got to settle in and figure out what works for them. Obviously, pitching's difficult, so I'm not really going to be super hypercritical of a first weekend start for these guys. I think the starting rotation will not change for Mississippi State going into week 2, so it'll be a good opportunity for them to kind of see what they can bring to the table when they face a different squad in Delaware this upcoming weekend. From the pen, I thought Ben Davis was electric. I thought Maddox Webb was great. Brendan Sweeney was fantastic. Didn't talk about him at all. And I'll tell you, a freshman that caught my eye, William Kirk. Fantastic 1 inning of work for him. There was a couple of guys that couldn't find the strike zone. Dane Burns, Chris Billingsley, and that's okay. It's the first weekend of the year. Got to cut down on walks. Got to do better at coming out and attacking. And it's much easier said than done, right? I'm not going to sit there and say, these guys can't throw strikes. They're horrible. I'm just going to say that, a lot to work on, and that's okay. It's the first weekend. We got a long way to go. Okay, a long season ahead of us. Omaha is not till June. So, it's February. So, got a lot of time to get better and improve, and these guys are definitely going to do that. So, I got high hopes for them. But overall, I thought it was good. And the number one thing that I'll say is that I'm not going to go out and proclaim that if Chris Lemonis was leading this team, State would have dropped a game this weekend. But I did like the way this team responded every time their back was against the wall this weekend under Brian O'Connor. They only made 1 error all weekend, and it was a bad pickoff attempt by Duke Stone. So defensively, they were great. They were, they handled every pressure situation. As there goes Cookie, pulling me backwards. But again, I'm very, very impressed with the makeup of this team so far. I felt like they did very, very good handling all the expectations to the best of their abilities. The crowd was fantastic. Over 12,000 people. New opening day attendance record for the dude. That's incredible. I wish I was there. Can't be there. I won't get there until March, but we're excited to go when we get a chance. Cookie, any final thoughts? Cookie? She's pulling me in the yard. Mississippi State has a busy week. They have Troy in the midweek, who dropped 2 to Mercer, but that's still a good baseball team on Tuesday. Then they'll play Alcorn State on Wednesday, and hopefully we get to see a few people that we didn't get to see this weekend, get some at bats. Jacob Parker, Jacob Parker, Peter Mershon, perhaps these young freshmen, get them an opportunity. Maybe see Jack Bauer in one of these 2 games. That would be good. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around him. People want to see him. Just want to see guys go out and attack in the midweek and have some fun. And then they do play Delaware this weekend at home again. So we'll recap that, We'll preview that at some point this week as well. But going to have a few episodes coming out just to give you more thoughts on the national scope. But wanted to talk Mississippi State baseball, recap their weekend against Hofstra. Cookie, final thoughts? Nope, she's tangled up in her leash, but I'm going to let her go because I got to fix her. But we'll see you next time for Talkin Ball with my dog.